so good day everyone, and I will be the reporter in this meeting, Nancy and VILLEZA, and I'm going to tackle the topic Evaluating Educational Technology, G. So now, this thing has something to do with the evaluation process, which is there will be three different phases or evaluation, which are the before, during, and after the instruction. Of course, before the after the instruction begins, of course. So before instruction, there will be three things to remember before you instruct your class. These are the dry runs, technical checks, and curriculum alignment. So let's proceed to the first one, which is dry run. So to explain this, this one is important because for all of you to know if the intended activity or experiment is effective, will be if it is effective through dry run. So that is the purpose of dry run. So if you are trying whatever kind of method it is, you must do it a dry run first before engaging yourself on actual activity. And the next one is technical check. This one is also important because a lack of technical check would be a cause and inconvenience during the activity. So to prevent that inconvenience, you should check your technology first before proceeding to the said activity, to just prevent technical difficulties. And the last one is curriculum alignment. So from the word itself, alignment, whatever you are teaching or instructing the students, it must be aligned with the curriculum objectives. And now, before the acquisition and using any educational technology tool and software, the teacher should be asking himself or herself the following questions. And the first one is the reading level appropriate to the reading age of the user? So this basically implies that you should watch your choices of words very well, because the term that you're using might not be comprehensible to the students because their vocabulary is not still wide enough to grasp the terms that you are using. So you better watch your vocabularies when you are teaching. The second one is the content accurate? Is it free or biased? So the content must be objective and accurate to its curriculum objective. So that is one of the questions that you are considered before the acquisition or before using any educational technologies. And the last one is there an option facility so that the teacher can change the ability level? So this one is something that you are seeking for something greater than what you currently have. So that's it, the questions before the instruction. And now during the instruction, these are the following questions that you should ask yourself. The first one is there outline on screen help? Yeah, so is there any outline on screen help? And if so, is it short, helpful, and easy to read? Yeah, so that is the first one. And the second one is the screen interface clear and easy to follow? So your presentation must be a follow-friendly, easy to follow. And it is bright, attractive, and appealing to the user. So just like what I said just now, your presentation must be a audience-friendly so that they can catch up to whatever you are discussing to them. And the last one, during the instruction that you should ask yourself is, can icons be clicked easily? Are they large enough for younger children to be able to use? So you must use your icons or whatever designs that you are using just to be more friendly and to be more convenient to the children audience that you are discussing to. So now let's proceed to the last one, which is after the instruction. So after the instruction, again, you should ask yourself this following question. And the first one is, how do they ensure that all the students have access to the ICT activities? So this one basically means you should ask yourself if the students have all of your plans went according to it, which is to access all the students and the said ICT activity. And the second one is, what were the learning outcomes for the students in the ICT? So that is very self-explanatory as an instructor. You should formulate or establish your learning outcomes as you do your instruction. And of course, you should ask yourself if the lesson outcome before the session have been achieved after the instruction. And the third one is, what assessment opportunities were there? So you should analyze and recognize what assessment you did back there as you instruct during the class discussion. And next one is, how does this experience add to my understanding of teaching ICT, capability, and literacy development? So yeah. And the last one is, how will I do next time? So the last item is, well, probably the most important in my opinion, because if you ask yourself this question, which is what will I do next time, you will keep on producing the innovative methods of teaching, which will be convenient and conducive to students and learning, especially when you are using ICT or any other technology in your teaching. And now, furthermore, so overall, educational activity must first be suitable for the teaching and learning situations. So it must be suited for both teachers and students. And the second one is be motivational. So from yourself, be motivational. Educational technology must be a stepping stone, or must be a great stepping stone to stimulate the students' enthusiasm and interest in the said lesson. And the third one is, of course, promote learnings, because as we all know, education is the best weapon that you could ever possess. And the fourth one is be at the right level at the age of learner. So the fourth one basically means you should adjust the degree of your lesson, the difficulty of your lesson according to your audience or to the age of students. And the fifth one is address the needs of the curriculum. So that's it, you should address the needs of curriculum by do a complete thinking about the curriculum of how you should address the needs of the said curriculum. And the last one, or the sixth one, is help meet the learning outcomes. So that is very explanatory. You should just meet the learning outcome as you begin, during, and of course after the instruction. So that will be in this part of that will be all in this part of the entire reporting in this group.
So let's now define what is the source of information. Did you know that source, it is anything or place from which something comes, starts at, or the cause of something or is obtained? Did you know that it has three types? And the first one will be primary source, secondary source, and of course tertiary source. So let's now define what is primary source. So primary source, it is a sources, records of events or evidence as they are first described or actually happen without any interpretation or commentary. So it is a first-hand information. It is shown for the first time or original materials on which other research is based. So primary sources display original thinking, report on new discoveries, or share fresh information. So we have here the example of primary sources. We have the dissertation, scholarly journal articles, research-based, some government reports, symposia, conference, proceedings, or original artwork, poems, photographs, speeches, letters, memos, personal narratives, diaries, interviews, autobiographies, and correspondence. So we have here the diaries or journal. The picture that you saw right now is no other than Anne Frank. So Anne Frank was a teenager during World War II. She kept a diary or journal the years before she died in a concentration camp. So her diary was later published as the Diary of Anne Frank. So this will be a primary document or source because it was a first hand. She wrote it at the time it happened. So the second one will be the secondary source. We know that secondary source is a second hand information. So these sources offer an analysis or restatement of primary sources. They often try to describe or explain primary source. They tend to be words which summarize, interpret, reorganize, or otherwise provide an added value to a primary source. So we have example of secondary source, the textbooks, edited works, books, and articles that interpret or review research work, biographies, literary criticism and interpretation, reviews of law and legislation, political analysis, and commentaries. So now let's choose the biography. So we have here the Martin Luther King Jr. He is an American Baptist minister and activist and most prominent leader in the civil rights movement. And that will be Alice Fleming. So she is an actress. So we know that a biography is when you write about another person's life. So Alice Fleming wrote a biography on the life of Martin King Luther Jr. So this will be a secondary source because it was written about him after he died. So to know more better about primary source and secondary source, think about it like this. If I tell you something, I am the primary source. If you tell someone else what I told you, you are the secondary source. So let's now proceed to the third type of source, and it will be tertiary source. So these are sources that index, abstract, organize, compile, or digest other sources. So some reference materials and textbooks are considered tertiary sources when their purpose is to summarize or simply repackage ideas or other information. So tertiary sources are usually not credited to a particular author. We have the example of tertiary sources. We have the dictionaries, encyclopedia, but it also includes in secondary sources, almanacs, fact books, Wikipedia, bibliography, also considered in secondary source, directories, guidebooks, manuals, handbooks, and textbooks, indexing and abstracting sources. Okay, let's go back to Martin Luther King Jr. So the topic will be civil rights. So the first primary source will be the recording of speech by Martin Luther King Jr. So for the secondary source, it will be the biography of Martin Luther King Jr. And for our tertiary source, it is the guide to the 1992 movie about Martin Luther King Jr. So we know that tertiary, it consists of information which is a distillation and collection of primary secondary sources. So it is intended purposes is to repackage an overview on a topic. So again, we have three types source of information, and that is the primary source, secondary source, and of course tertiary source. So when we say primary source, it's produced by a person who actually witnessed and experienced an event, or let me say, it was a first-hand information. And for our secondary source, it will be the second-hand information. It's created by the people who were not present during the event, but it referenced the primary source of information. And for our tertiary source, it is the collection of data and concepts drawn from primary source and secondary source.
And now let's proceed to the steps to evaluate the value of educational technology. So this is what it is. Educational technology can be a powerful tool in improving learning outcomes of the students, of course. And it can help educational video the horizons of students and allow them to explore the boundaries of their freedom. And what else? It can add value to each teacher's lesson and give greater depth to each other school's curriculum. However, in this case, in order to utilize educational technology to its maximum potential, educators must take steps to evaluate the value of educational technology in their schools. Below is a step-by-step guideline by which schools can evaluate the value of educational technology as used in their institutions of learning. And the first one, we got a setting goals. So what is setting goals? The first thing education must do is to set your goals for each program, because you cannot just go through teaching or whatever activities that you're about to go through without setting a goals, because the outcome that you might produce if you are not doing any goals might be kind of messy and in a debris style. So the first thing you must do is to set goals for each program, just like what I have explained just now. And what do you intend to achieve by making use of a certain technology? Do you plan to increase the literacy rates of your students, or are you aiming for greater inter-class participation? And are you making use of this technology to reach a wider number of students, or are you just aiming for specific targeted approach to groups of students? So that's what it is for a setting goal. And the next one is prepare to contrast information from before and after the use of technology. So prepare to contrast information before and after technology. So this way, by doing a contrast or comparison, comparing, you will surely going to perceive or to how do you call this? To know, to identify what would be the advantage of technology before and after using of it as a educational tool in teaching your students. And the next one is collect and analyze data. So once you've set your goals and develop your rubrics, you must begin collecting data for future analysis, of course. It is important that you try to be empirical in data collection as possible. You should use surveys, test, questions, students' grades, and classroom observation to build up your case. And the next and the last one is using rubrics. Yes, of course, using rubrics. Give a score for each goal you set. And after completing data analysis, give a score for each goal set using rubrics you have developed. Was there a 90% success rate using this certain technology in achieving this goal? Did more students obtain higher grades than the result? If your goal was to increase the number of students from your school in passing the board exams, were you able to achieve it? If your goal involved changing behaviors, how successful were you when compared to the baseline you recorded from the before, the implementation of the technology? Yeah, so that is the using rubrics and give a score for each goal you set means. So that will be all for the steps to evaluate the value of educational technology. And for the continuation of that report, basically there are 10 great educational websites for teachers, and those are the following. Here are the following educational website, great educational website for teachers, and those are the Khan Academy, Read Write Think, Common Sense Media, and Game-Based Formative Assessment Tools, Simpsonian Learning Lab, Our Commons, Discovery Education, TED Ed, Wacolet, and Sambala Education. And then now those are the 10 great educational websites for teachers. And that will be all for this reporting of mine. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I am JERIC JIMENEZ and I am the next reporter. So my report is about catalog. So what is catalog? Catalog is a list of records as of items of sales or courses at a university, systematically arranged and often including descriptive material. Teachers and students use technology in the classroom in a variety of ways to boost the learning experience and to make education smarter than ever. And education technology, or EdTech, is now an industry of its own. So, what is the use of catalog? So, the use of catalog and the main purpose is to record, describe, and index the holding of a collection. Catalog is very important in a library whenever its collection is growing too large. So, its function is to remember the items. It is remembered to items if it is available in the library. And catalog also is, or many catalogs provided list of hardware and software appropriate for use in the classroom. So many companies will also include standards and objectives in the catalogs, and they use the standard and objectives associated with their products. So one of the example of catalogs, or another example of catalog, is a digital whiteboard, also referred to as a virtual or online whiteboard. A digital whiteboard is a software solution that replicates the function of an analog whiteboard. Put simply, it's a whiteboard you can use on a computer, smartphone, tablet, or any compatible electronic device. All that you share in classroom or during a meeting can be viewed in real time or later online. The most advanced software offers graphic and annotation features and can even integrate a broad range of media such as videos, interactive content, or 3D models. So communication boards, discussion tools. So one of the example of the catalogs again is laptop, tablets, and projectors, communication apps, research platforms, and presentation and design software.
Hi, I'm Stephen PAJERMO. Now, let's talk about publish, evaluation, and conference. Publish evaluation. Teachers also need to evaluate software before attempting to integrate it in the curriculum. It is always important to evaluate software for content and age appropriateness. This follows with the idea of not letting the technology drive the curriculum, but letting your curriculum and learning objectives drive the technology. Evaluation of educational technology is important before, during, and after instruction takes place. Evaluation after instruction is a crucial component of a lesson that effectively utilizes technology and digital media. Teacher can rely on a variety of resources to help evaluate the appropriateness of educational technologies. There are many different organizations that provide educators with information on educational technology, and they are the Department of Education, Professional Organization, Education Group, Software Developers, Educational Publication, and Educational Journals. Conference. Technology Conference. It is an international educational activity for academic, teachers, and educators. This conference is now a well-known educational event.
Recommendation of colleagues. So, what is recommendation? Recommendation, the act of recommending something such as procedures recommended, or it is something that recommends or express commendation. Never underestimate the advice given to you by an experienced colleague. Fellow education can offer advice on a variety of software and sites to incorporate into your instruction. So it is important that you are stand corrected. What is colleague means? Colleague means a colleague is someone who work with or someone who is in the same profession as you, specifically a peer within that profession. And the importance of recommendation of colleagues. The importance of the recommendation of colleagues that reveal certain crucial information about a person, such as evidence of the skills and the character. This observation and recommendation basically help the recruiters and the hiring managers gain a better view of the person and their potential to succeed further. And it is important to have a recommendation for colleagues to improve your field based on your result. So, in that kind of situation, recommended colleague is important for us to know the person better. If it is, he is good on that, but he is not good of this. So it is important to recognize what the strengths and weaknesses of our colleagues. But then, we stand corrected. It is important that recommendation for someone is in a nice way, or it is not offended.